Hello everybody and welcome to Going for Goldbridge. Got the city on lockdown. Is it the time to do a bit of a joke about a classic blues song? Got the city on lockdown. Oh, not in a whole ride. It probably isn't. We've got the city on lockdown. This is the latest news in the UK. Boris Johnson has announced it quite recently, in fact, that further measures are going to be brought into place. I mean, effectively, I think when we're talking about this, and I will answer that question from Draughty Devil about where the name Goldbridge came from, but I want to get into this first of all and say that weird day, which I'll talk about in a moment, but this lockdown thing, we're effectively in lockdown. It's just because people aren't doing it. It's like, oh, UK on lockdown, which I've actually called this video, but we were already on lockdown because schools are closed, shops are closed, McDonald's is closed, and basically it's just key workers that are staying in work to keep the country running, which is the way it should happen when you're trying to suppress a pandemic, which is what we're trying to do. We're trying to stop the spread of a pandemic. And Italy had well over 600 deaths, I think, today, but it's come down for the second day in a row. And, you know, 600 deaths is horrific. It's terrible. But that's what a graph is. And hopefully that's peaked and it comes down now. And that's what we need to do. We're not at our peak yet, but we need to hit that peak and start bringing it down. And I think that's why tighter intervention is really, really, really important. We saw what happened over the weekend. It was a really nice day today in the UK. People, when it's a nice day, they flock to outside locations and they think they're fine, and it's not. We can't have that. So am I put off by the fact that we're going into a lockdown? Does it make me scared that we might see, you know, police, army on the street and things like that? Actually, I think I'm actually one of those people who are quite positive about this. To me, this shows the system works. This shows that in a crisis we can do this, because if you'd said to me 2 or 3 weeks ago, you know, there's going to be no flights into the UK, everyone's going to be in lockdown working from home, some people won't be working at all, the schools will be closed and we won't be able to leave our house unless it's to get shopping, I would have laughed at you and said, yeah, and Liverpool are going to win the league. But this is really, you know, 3 weeks ago we knew that, but you know, if you said it to me a year ago, we're living in a weird time. Liverpool are going to win the league, but in real serious terms, we are going to see this happen. But I think, look, it's not a good thing. There's nothing good about this, but I think what we've got to try and do is grasp the positive. I went out today to cut the grass out the front, and I was in the garage, and the garage is just cluttered. And I went in the garage, and while I was in the garage, I was like, right, there's 6 jobs I've been wanting to do in the garage for probably about 2 years, and I've now got the time to do them. The jobs aren't in the garage. I mean, I'm not a sad garage fetish person. I don't go in the garage and go, there's the rubber suit. Oh, I've got to do that. I've got to put that on again when it's closed, and put the tennis ball in, you know, nothing like that. Their jobs are in the garage because that's where I dump stuff to bring into the house to do. So it could be painting. What else have I got to do? There's some stuff in the garden. There's some shelves that have got to go up. There's all sorts of stuff, and I've just dumped it in the garage. So I half cleaned the garage today. I cut the grass out the front. I've got the back to do tomorrow. I thought, don't do it all at once. It's like when you open a tin of Quality Street and you think, oh, I'm just going to eat most of it now. No, it's got to last the whole of Christmas. And this ain't Christmas. This is a Poundland Christmas at best. But there is opportunities to do things, and I think for a lot of us who aren't able to work like we normally work, actually your home is your castle, and there are things you can do. There are things that you can do that you put off, and that could be paperwork stuff, or it could be DIY stuff. So I think that's really important. But look, I feel this is a positive. I think this is a positive. I was ranting yesterday about selfish people. This is a positive, and we're going to see now in a crisis how a system works. This is not World War II. And people keep mentioning World War II. I mean, I heard Piers Morgan today saying, what are people moaning about? Just sit and watch telly for 2 months. Can I just put my hand up, Piers, and say this? Let's not be dismissive about the challenge here. I understand his frustration that he wants people to adhere to the isolation so we don't spread it. I want that as well. But what I don't want to say is dismissively, oh, it's just sat watching TV for 2 months. I think that is really dismissive about the mental health of the UK and the wider world. This is difficult to deal with. Like I said, I was out today and I was like, right, this has to be a Monday, and we sort of structured our day in a way to make it a Monday, and it worked. And I want the weekends to be separate, and on Thursday night, as I said before, on Thursday night, we're Skyping friends and they're going to sit as a two and we're going to sit as a two, like we would if we were going down a pub. We're going to have a few drinks and they're going to be Skype. And, hopefully that'll work and it'll work well. And I've done that with a couple of friends as well. So it's trying to structure a week in a false way to keep your brain ticking over. But to say, oh yeah, I'm going to have to sit and watch telly for you're just getting to sit and watch telly for 2 months. I finished that series on Netflix last night called The Stranger. And I'm watching it and I'm watching people like in a pub and in a cafe, and I'm thinking, oh, I can't do that anymore. So even if you are just going to sit and watch box sets, it might make you think about the things you can't do. So you've got to cope with the things that you can't do. It's not just as easy as sitting there and going, hey, I'm watching TV for 2 months, I'm living the dream, but I can't go out, I can't go a few metres out of my house. So, it is restrictive, and that needs to be taken on board. We can't just be dismissive, because some people have different levels of how they cope with things, and some people are going to really struggle with this. Some people will really struggle with being restricted like this. But so we've got to take that on board. But without any question, the quicker we all want to come through this in the quickest way and safest way possible, and the quickest way to do that is for people to isolate themselves. We failed, and I think many people, and I was talking to George about this today, I think many people need to be told what to do. Some of us have the ability to think and go, right, they're telling us to do that, let's do it. But some people almost they're not need telling what to do, ordering what to do. Like I knew, and a lot of people I know, and a lot of you knew at the weekend in the UK, you're not meant to be going down the local park and pushing people on swings and intermingling with other people. That defeats the purpose. You may as well get on the bloody train with them and go to work as normal on a Monday morning. You can go down the park, but you're meant to keep social distancing. I knew that. A lot of you knew that. Some people didn't know that. So those people, and I'm not criticising them, they need ordering what to do. They need authority. They need the army. They need the police. So I think this is a good thing. I'm not scared of it. I don't think people should be scared of it. It's a natural step in an unnatural situation to get people to do what needs to be done to get us through this and lower the curve. I'm not scared about the army being on the street. I'm not scared about the police being on the street. I'm not. I think it's a good thing, and I think it needs to happen now, because some people just do not have the discipline clearly to do what needed to be done ourselves. And why would they? Look at society. Like, I used to work in the police. Society isn't all you and me, good people. Society is bad people who do bad things. They're still here. So, drug dealers, murderers, assaulters, fraudsters, whatever you want to, whatever you want to define as a bad person, they ain't going to be sat at home going, I better self-isolate. These people are wired up in a different way, and they'll see this as an opportunity to be bad. And how do you deal with bad people? Authority. And that's what we need to do. And I'm not saying people who are going down the park are bad people. What I'm saying is, I think this is a positive. I think we do need to do it. I think people need those parameters of, this is what you're going to do, and this is for the better of all of us. And as I've said, I look forward to the human race coming out of this. Let's not assume we're all going to get out of it. I'm sure we will, but there will be loss of life and we will lose people along the way. But as a race, we will come out of this. And I think when we do come out of this, I hope we take a lot of this from it. I mean, I don't want us to be on curfew, but togetherness, the fact that we can be told what to do by a government and do it. I mean, there's positives. It's like that. It is like the camaraderie of World War II, even though it's totally different. We do need to get on the page of that. So I'm not scared of this lockdown. I think it's the right thing. I think the uncertainty and the inability of people. It's like Friday night, the pubs are shutting. Oh, one last hurrah down the pub, or McDonald's is shutting. Oh, let's get down McDonald's and get some more. It's just I need to go and get loads of toilet roll. It's the same thing, isn't it? It's the last night in the pub. It's the last time to McDonald's. It's getting all the toilet roll. It's getting all the pasta. It's the mindset needs to be broken to get us through this. So I'm very positive about it. I think it's a good thing. And the quicker we get through this means the more stricter we need to be. So I'm okay with it. I think it's a good thing, and I'm relaxed about it. I'm not relaxed about the situation in general, because it's something I've never been through. It's something none of us have ever been through. I'm not by any means struggling with it. I'm not. It's just that the speed of which it's moving. If you look at it a week ago, or even 2 weeks ago, everything was pretty much normal. hearing about this virus, but it's pretty much normal. A week ago, we're starting to move away from that. Friday, schools close, pubs close. Yesterday, McDonald's closed, if that's a big thing for you. And then today, another. And I think, to be fair to the government, they've had a lot of criticism from certain people. But to me, it's very obvious what they've done. They've done this in stages. Instead of going schools close, pubs close, shops close, McDonald's close, you're on lockdown all in one. Imagine what that would be a blow. This is just working through the typical human psyche here of gradual bad news, I suppose, or gradual isolation. And I think that the government have known that they were going to do this all along. They've hinted it. And look, how long will... The reality is, if they didn't do these things, we'd overwhelm the NHS, and we'd be like this for months. I think with this, we've got an opportunity, hopefully, fingers crossed, to get on top of it and maybe get out of this in weeks instead of months. And it's going to be longer than a month, of course, but weeks can be 9 weeks, it can be 12 weeks, whereas I think months can be 7 months, 8 months, and we don't want that. So yeah, I hope it's going to be interesting, and I think over the next few days, it hopefully will do. I had this feeling that we're not going to end up as bad as Italy, or Spain, and I don't know why. I just don't think that we are, but maybe that's just hopeful. Maybe that is hopeful and wishful thinking, because a lot of it depends about what the undercurrent is, and we don't actually know what the undercurrent is because, like many countries, there's not been widespread testing. So Birmingham is now a hotspot for it, which is where I live. London's a hotspot, and it's starting to feather out into other areas. But how big are those hotspots? What's the percentage of people who've got it in the thousands? Is it like literally on your doorstep, or is it still, population of a city's 100,000, 5,000 people have got it, or is it half? We don't know. So this is going to have a massive impact on things. But ultimately, as I've said before, isolation. If you are nowhere near the virus, you're not going to get it. And wherever the virus is, it will work its way through the people who have got it. And then if it's got nowhere new to go, it disappears. And then, this is very important. People are saying, well, if in 3 months it's gone, it's pretty much gone in the UK, and other countries have got on top of it, what do? Do you go back to normal? I think yes, you do, within our countries. I don't think international flights need to happen until we've got a vaccine. And this is a big thing to say, but if you get on top of it in Ireland or in England, in the UK, or in Sweden or France or Spain or Germany or America, you get on top of it, but it's still out there. Why would you start letting flights coming in from America or mainland Europe or Africa or Asia? Why would you let them flights come in where people can bring it back into the country and you have to do it again? I think we need to get on top of it, and sort of, we're quite, everyone needs to become an island, really. This is what the internet's for. All your international business meetings, why can't they be, we're going to still have to get things exported and imported, of course, but they're goods. They're not people. The movement of people in and out of countries, I think, needs to be massively limited until we get a vaccine. But that doesn't mean countries can't go back to normal. Like, I was hearing this morning that in Singapore, everything's sort of getting back to normal there. But the rest of the world's in crisis. So as long as Singapore don't let people in, they can live in their bubble and do their thing and communicate electronically or getting their imports, exports out. I think that's the world we're going to have to live in for the next year. And to be honest, if I'm not having a holiday or I'm not going on a business trip or whatever, so what? As long as we can do what we need to do within our countries. And, that may be that from a football point of view, you don't have European football, but you can still have domestic. I remember as a kid, England weren't allowed to play European football anyway because we got banned. So, still love the football, still can be done. Let's take some of your questions. Where did you get the name Goldbridge from, says Drawty? Right, so this is very, very easy, going back into my policing days. So I started the United Stand in my policing days, and everything you do you get vetted for, even relationships and family members. If they've run pubs or anything like that, you have to declare it. So I was going to start doing this YouTube thing. I had no idea it was going to be as big as it is, and I mentioned it, and they said, what will you be doing? And I said, well, I might be calling a Birmingham City fan a prat. And they went, well, there's nothing wrong with that really, because you're just expressing an opinion about sport. However, it's probably not advisable that you use your real name. So I had to come up with a name, and me and my mate were just talking about it, and we liked the name Goldbridge because it was almost like nobody in the world's got that name. So yeah, that's why we did it. Very and it didn't take to come up with the name. If you didn't do the United stand, would you go back to the police? Says Alex Long. I would happily go back in these times, and I think there's going to be a lot of people who will volunteer to go back because it's either in you or it's not. It's like the whole, when there's danger, some people will run away, some people will run towards it. I'm one of those people that will run towards it, and a lot of people will run towards it. And I hate even saying that, and you could probably see a little bit of a smile in my face because it's like, oh yeah, I'm so brave. Oh, you're odd. And it's not about that. It's like, if I see someone with a knife running towards me, I'll run away because that's the intelligent thing to do. But if I see somebody, there's a crisis, I will go and help. You know, if there's a burning building and people need to chuck water on it, I will go and pick up a bucket of water. Some people will, some people won't. It's just human psyche again. I would go and do it in these times because I think we're living in weird times, and the United stand wouldn't stop me. If I got the phone call, I would go and do it because some things are more important. But I don't think it will happen because there are so many people who will volunteer who are way closer to it than me. I mean, I haven't done it for 10 years, so all your training, all your first aid courses, although I know how to do it, they'd have to run special courses for. I mean, look, never say never, but I don't think it will happen, and I've not seen anything about that happening yet. But we'll see. I mean, look, they might ask for a volunteer. You know, back in the war, they used to have volunteer police, didn't they? They might do that, and you might be able to apply as much as I would, and I would do it. I would definitely do it because it might just be patrolling the street, making sure people aren't going out for barbecues and going down the local park. I'd love that. But you know, I think we've all got to play our part, haven't we? So yeah, we'll definitely see. Let me just have a look if we've got any other questions, because for some reason I've had 106 comments, but my comments... Oh, what's gone wrong here then? That's disappointing. Right, let me close that. Let me close that down. But yeah, look, you know what? It's there are ways of coping with this, as I said. I think that DIY is a very, very good idea to do if you're at home or something like that. There is stuff that you can do that you tidy up, clear your loft out, these sort of things that you always put off that you can do. And I do think that these, if you've got friends and family, as I said, we did it before. You know, you've got your phone, get them on a Skype, or even better if you've got a notepad or a computer. You look at me now, you're looking at me now. Do you feel part of the conversation we're having, even though you're not talking back at me? Well, you can actually get someone to talk back at you. So all these things that you've probably never done, that you can do with technologies that's there, or the opportunity of time to do it, they're all there to be done, aren't they? So I think that's all very important as well. And it's not easy, of course it's not. But all right, I have got more Twitter questions. They were just... No, I haven't. I don't know what's gone wrong with Twitter here. This is really weird. It says I've got over 100 questions, but when I go into Twitter, it's only showing me about 10 replies. That's really annoying. Really, really annoying. Okay. If you could relive any day of your life over again, what would it be? Football is, and what is what, that is what. I know what it would be, and I'm not about to tell you what it would be. That first time, but I'm trying to. It would be either one of the days that my kids were born, or probably more likely the first day. The first day I kissed my wife. And you know, people will say something worse, like the first time I slept with them or anything like that. But to be honest with you, that first moment with the person that you love, whether it's a holding of a hand or a kiss, as cliche and romantic as it might be to some people, yeah, that's I always remember that, and it came at the end of a very nice night, and that's all that happened as well before I went home. So yeah, that was nice. I don't know what's going on with this here. Okay, we'll end it there. But look, ultimately, let me just say, we're back tomorrow. Please do check out the Mark Goldbridge That's Football channel if you want to check out FIFA that went on today. But ultimately, I don't think this is a bad thing. And I think that, you know, what we're going to see is something that we never thought we would see. But in a way, it shows that how as a country we can react to this. And you know what? I've not heard enough people saying this. This is about being proud of your country. We're doing this together. This could really bring the country together in a time when we're very fragmented. So, we're going to get through this, and it just shows that the system works. Thanks everyone for watching. Speak to you all soon.